Chapter 251. Suddenly, a black-robed figure appeared in the living room, attracting all eyes. Everyone felt surprised, and their hearts immediately murmured a prayer for this black-robed person. Knowing that Mo Cheng greatly valued his reputation, this situation was undoubtedly provoking his wrath. The black-robed person's appearance also caused Nalan Yenran and Gui to be slightly startled. Glancing at each other, they recognized this black-robed person. This was the person they had met at the inn today. Frowning, it was obvious that this black-robed person's presence was somewhat ill-intentioned. "Who are you, sir?" His cold gaze fixed on the black-robed person, Mo Cheng frowned and asked in a deep voice. "You are Mo Cheng. I want to ask you something." The black-robed person lowered their voice. The clear, gentle voice of a young person did not change because of Mo Cheng's murderous expression. "Today is a joyous day for the Mo family. Please give face and postpone for a moment. Whatever the matter is, please return to discuss it after today's banquet is over, all right?" Hearing the young voice, Mo Cheng's heart sighed slightly. His withered palm slowly emerged from his sleeve, as fierce fire attribute do qi condensed in his palm, emitting a deep red light, making the handprint look somewhat eerie. Hearing Mo Cheng speak, his words subtly containing killing intent, the black-robed person swayed slightly, then shook their head, seemingly a little helpless. A moment later, an arrogant statement that made everyone widen their eyes and unable to utter a word, slowly drifted over. "Give face. What qualifications do you have to say these words? Although the Mo family's power in the Northeast province is not weak, ultimately, they are just a dog of the Cloud Mist sect." As soon as these words were spoken, astonished gazes turned toward the black-robed person. On the high platform, Nalan Yenran's smiling face slightly changed. Mo Cheng glared intensely at the black-robed person below. His aged face twisted, becoming sinister. He waved his hand. Instantly, more than 10 Mo family experts, heavily armored, rushed into the living room with murderous intent, surrounding the black-robed person. "Since this old man became the Mo family great elder, you are the first person who dared to come to the Mo family and cause trouble," Mo Cheng said with a cold tone. The black robe lifted slightly. Mo Cheng seemed to perceive a pair of mocking eyes under the black cloth, and the killing intent in his heart surged. "Don't say such things anymore. You are not wrong. Today, I truly came to crash the party of the Mo family's old scoundrel." The black-robed person's words contained a hint of ridicule, shocking the entire venue once again. Good. Good. Ha. Boy, you have guts." Furious to the extreme, Mo Cheng let out a loud laugh. A powerful aura fiercely burst out from his body, oppressing the surrounding space. Gui watched the scene. This old fellow's strength is growing increasingly formidable. Nalan Yenran looked at the tense scene and asked softly, "Uncle Go, do we need to intervene?" Gui shook his head. "Wait a moment. The black-robed person is not simple. It's good to let Mo Cheng receive a little lesson this time." Sensing the oppressive aura, the guests were surprised, realizing Mo Cheng might be a 5-star Do Ling. They couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Ignoring Mo Cheng's surging aura, the black-robed person spoke softly. "I came to the Mo family mainly because of one person. Hand over the little girl Qing Lin whom you captured in Stone Desert City." Mo Cheng's face drastically changed. He didn't utter another superfluous word. Waving his hand, he shouted softly, "Kill him." The surrounding Mo family experts shrieked, summoning their Do Qi armor, and swung their great sabers towards the black-robed person. Standing upright, the black-robed person did not evade. When the sabers came close, a stream of pale white flames violently burst out from within their body. The sharp sabers, upon contact with the strange pale white flames, instantly turned into a pile of molten iron before astonished gazes. The fire continued to surge, and several Mo family experts who failed to dodge turned into a cluster of black ashes. The entire hall gasped in terror. "Is this a heavenly flame?" Gui cried out softly. Nalan Yenran became serious. This person's strength is truly powerful. The Mo family has surely provoked someone they shouldn't have this time. Who exactly are you, sir? Why must you seek trouble with my Mo family? Do you know who is backing the Mo family? Mo Qing shouted, a sense of unease rising within him. Heh. Is it the Cloud Mist sect that is backing the Mo family? However, today here, even luck cannot protect you, Mo Cheng. The black-robed person sneered. Hand over Qing Lin, otherwise today the Mo family will be cleansed with blood. The black-robed person slowly took a step forward, killing intent suddenly flaring up. You can insult my Mo family, but the Cloud Mist sect Master Yun will not allow you to defile her name. Mo Cheng bravely shouted. The dog relies on its master, does it? However, I said before. Today, even if Yun came, it would be useless. The black-robed person replied with a faint smile. They took another step, and their body suddenly swayed, instantly appearing almost through instant movement right behind Mo Cheng. If you don't hand her over, then go die. A chilling voice rang out next to his ear. Mo Cheng's heart felt a chill. He frantically activated his Do Qi, and his hand contracted into a claw, fiercely clawing at the black-robed person. The black-robed person clenched their hand into a fist, smashing it onto Mo Cheng's palm with incomparably fierce Do Qi. Followed by crisp cracking sounds, Mo Cheng spurted out a mouthful of blood and was directly knocked flying backward, rolling more than 10 meters before stopping. Just one punch. The famous Mo family great elder was casually sent flying. Everyone stared, dumbfounded, wondering, what kind of power was this? Do King. Do Huang. Hand the person over. The black-robed person said indifferently. You are challenging the Mo family and the Cloud Mist sect right here. Mo Cheng struggled to stand up, still speaking stubbornly. I already gave you a chance. Slightly disappointed, the black-robed person sighed, and again, like a ghost, appeared in front of Mo Cheng. Their hand gripped his neck tightly. You didn't cherish it. Then die. The great hall fell into silence. Everyone stared blankly. Sir, please show mercy. A sudden shout rang out as Guyi stood up. The black-robed person's movement froze for a moment. And they looked indifferently at Guyi. Then, they turned back, focusing on Mo Cheng's pale face, hand over Qing Lin. Gr great sir, I truly don't understand what you are saying. Mo Cheng's lips trembled. The black-robed person shook their head and sighed, their palm forcefully straightened, and the bone-chilling flame swept across the base of Mo Cheng's right arm. The palm swept past, and the arm was severed. Not a single drop of blood flowed out, only a black scorched mark. A miserable, desolate shriek burst from Mo Cheng's mouth, causing a chill to rise in everyone's hearts. He was now crippled. Mo family members, quickly kill this bastard for me, he growled with insane resentment. Ignoring Mo Cheng who was roaring like a madman, the black-robed person softly asked, hand her over. Or not. Mo Cheng angrily refused again. You are wasting my meager patience, the cold voice showed a lack of patience. Seeing the black-robed person raise his hand again, Mo Cheng finally couldn't hold back, roaring, if you kill me, that little girl will definitely have to be buried with me. So Qing Lin is still alive, huh? The black-robed person breathed a sigh of relief. In the Mo family, whoever has the right to speak, quickly get out here and hand over the little girl you captured. Otherwise, today, the Mo family will be cleansed with blood. The Mo family patriarch, Mo Lan, entered the hall. Sir is a Do Huang expert. Nailin Yenran and Gui cried out in shock. Under that terrifying aura, Mo Lan's face was ashen, trembling uncontrollably. Please wait a moment, sir, I will immediately release the person. Mo Cheng furiously shouted to stop him, but the black-robed person suddenly turned, and a kick fiercely struck his lower abdomen. Mo Cheng spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The black-robed person aimed like a ghost towards Mo Cheng's pale face, bone-chilling flame condensing on their fist, clearly intending to kill. Sir, please give face to the Cloud Mist sect, and grant Mo Cheng a way to live. Guyi urgently shouted, then fiercely charged forward. Get lost. A cold shout rang out. The body performed a bizarre twist and flashed past, fiercely striking Guy's chest. Guy's face turned pale, and his body shot backward. In that instant, Guy vaguely caught a glimpse of the handsome face beneath the hood, and his expression was shaken. He then fiercely denied his fleeting thought, impossible. To go from a Do disciple to a Do Huang in 3 years is absolutely impossible. Nalan Yanran rushed to Guy's side, her small mouth tightly pursed, angrily challenging the black-robed person. Sir, since you have the capability to kill Mo Cheng, why hide your head? And show your tail. Are you afraid of the Cloud Mist sect? It's not that I don't dare, but simply that I haven't thought about it yet. Cloud Mist sect, sooner or later I will go. By then, my identity will naturally be clear to you, the black-robed person replied indifferently. Are you finished talking? The black-robed person shrugged. If you're done talking, then stop making noise. If you don't want the Cloud Mist sect to lose a successor, then quietly stand aside. Ignoring Nalan Yanran, the black-robed person slowly walked towards Mo Cheng, bone-chilling flame surging from his palm. Mo Lan desperately tried to offer compensation but was ignored. Realizing his life was truly forfeit, Mo Cheng made a final desperate move, revealing his left arm, which was now a huge, fiery red magical beast limb. He had transplanted the forelimb of a 5th-rank magical beast, the Scarlet Flame mountain-breaking rhino. Die! Mo Cheng roared, charging forward like a bullet. His gigantic hand fiercely clawing down, generating a terrifying force that cracked the floor. The black-robed person stood still, slowly raising his head. The young, handsome face beneath the black robe was clearly revealed in Mo Cheng's blood-red eyes, filling him with shock. It's over, the black-robed person's hand slowly rose, the bone-chilling flame powerfully shot out like a flamethrower, instantly enveloping Mo Cheng's body. A layer of pale white ice burst out, instantly covering his entire body, turning him into a lifelike ice statue. The ice statue powerlessly fell to the ground and loudly shattered. Inside, nothing remained but dust. The great hall was filled with a deathly silence. Indifferently gazing at the shattered white ice block, the black-robed person slightly raised their head, looking through the black cloak, and slowly scanned the silent great hall. Although their gaze was obscured by the cloak, whenever their eyes landed on someone, that person's expression drastically changed, and they shrank their neck. The horrifying methods of the black-robed person flashed in everyone's minds. They had no intention of moving. Nor did they dare to look at them. Nalan Yanran's jade hand tightly clenched, her beautiful face was slightly pale as she stared at the ice block slowly melting on the carpet. Her body couldn't help but tremble slightly. An hour ago, she was discussing grand plans with the Mo family great elder, but now, not even his bones remained before her. The great difference between the two scenes unfolding in such a short time made it somewhat difficult for the observer to believe. Taking a deep breath of cold air, Nalan Yanran slowly suppressed the agitation in her heart. After all, having gone through 3 years of cultivation, she was no longer the impetuous girl she once was. Her complexion gradually recovered, her beautiful eyes stared intently at the black-robed person and said, "No matter who you are, as of today, you have established a grievance with the Cloud Mist sect. Perhaps Mo Cheng did not have the qualification to cause a conflict between the Cloud Mist sect and a Do Huang expert. But one issue is that for the honor of this sect, the Cloud Mist sect will absolutely spare no cost. Today, you executed Mo Cheng in the southeast province in front of numerous forces and us. If my Cloud Mist sect sits idly by, the other forces will feel disheartened towards the Cloud Mist sect." The black-robed person met her gaze, silently staring. Seeing that their aura could not suppress Nalan Yanran. After a moment, they lightly shook their head and whispered, "I and your Cloud Mist sect are bound to be antagonists sooner or later. Even if I hadn't killed Mo Cheng today, I would still go to the Cloud Mist sect in the future. By then, I fear the grievances will be even more intense, so the words you just spoke to me are essentially useless." "Who exactly are you, sir?" Hearing the black-robed person say this, Nalan Yanran's willow eyebrows furrowed. She couldn't help but shout, "You will know someday." The black-robed person said indifferently, then ignored Nalin Yenran, turned around, and slowly walked towards the sorrowful Mo family disciples. Hand over the person. Stopping in front of Mo Lan, about 2 meters away, the black-robed person spoke in an icy voice, which still contained a thick killing intent. Mo Lan's heart trembled slightly, understanding that if he delayed any further, he feared he would turn into a block of ice himself. "Sir, the person is on the way." His voice was still slightly trembling. Mo Lan's step staggered back 2 steps before he felt slightly at ease. 5 minutes. The black-robed person ignored the retreating Mo Lan, coldly spitting out these 3 words, then stood upright like a wooden stake, saying nothing more. Hearing these 3 words, the corner of Mo Lan's mouth twitched a few times, then he hurriedly waved his hand, calling a Mo family disciple, his expression tense, urging him to hurry. In the vast, sumptuously decorated great hall, red objects symbolizing a joyous day hung on the walls and pillars. But at this moment, those present in the hall could only force a bitter smile. The Mo family's joyous day. Today was practically preparing for a funeral. Every gaze in the great hall swept around, but carefully looked at the black-robed person standing erect in the center of the hall. A slight tremor ran through everyone's heart. No one could have conceived of such a terrifying existence. The Mo family great elder was a Douling expert, yet in the hands of this black-robed person, he was like mud. Molded as they wished, without any power to resist. This type of powerhouse was obviously not someone they could afford to cross. They could only secretly guess in their hearts how Mo Qing managed to provoke such a top-tier powerhouse of the empire, only to be killed by him in the end. In the great hall, though many were shaken, there was dead silence. The bizarre scene just now made everyone feel a chill down their spines, and the air in the room felt colder. Standing still in place, the black-robed person slightly lowered their head. The residual light from the corner of their eyes penetrated the black robe, sweeping towards the phantom-like black shadow standing on the rafter. The black shadow nodded slightly towards them, indicating that everything was proceeding smoothly. Hai Budong stood on the crossbeam, noticing the vague gaze of the black-robed person below. He hesitated for a moment and nodded. However, when he nodded, he saw the aged face of the black-robed person with somewhat full cheeks, and his heart was filled with vague confusion and doubt. This was because, earlier, he had sensed an extremely faint familiar aura hidden beneath the great hall. Only it was extremely vague, impossible to grasp, making even Hai Budong feel somewhat uncertain. Not yet sensing the doubt on Hai Budong's face, the black-robed person waited silently. But suddenly the black ring on his finger slightly trembled. Although the black ring only trembled slightly, the black-robed person felt it and was surprised in his heart, immediately asking softly, "Master, is something wrong?" "Be careful, I vaguely sense a familiar aura for some reason." The aged voice of Yao Lao spoke with seriousness and doubt from within Xiao Yan's heart. "What does that mean?" Hearing this, Xiao Yan was slightly surprised and quickly asked, "A familiar aura?" "It was when you borrowed my soul power to burst forth for a moment, originally. That aura was perfectly hidden. It only fluctuated slightly just now, otherwise, I fear even I couldn't have detected it," Yao Lao continued in a deep voice. "Furthermore, this aura gives me a familiar feeling. Perhaps, someone I had contact with before." Hearing Yao Lao's words, Xiao Yan's heart trembled, and a look of shock appeared on the face inside the black robe. Xiao Yan was never completely clear about Yao Lao's strength in the past. But he knew that back then, Yao Lao was definitely one of the top figures at the peak of the Do-Chi continent's pyramid. And anyone capable of having contact with Yao Lao could absolutely not be underestimated. I had very little contact with experts in the Jiama Empire back then, so I think this unknown figure must have traveled here from elsewhere. I just don't know what they did to hide in the Mo family." Yao Lao said thoughtfully. "What is his strength?" Xiao Yan tightly furrowed his brows, asking about the most important issue in his heart. "I'm not sure. Right now, even I can only vaguely sense him. It's not clear who he is yet," Yao Lao said with a touch of a headache. "Regardless, be careful. Wait for Qing Lin to appear, take her, and quickly leave this place." "Understood." Nodding slightly, a serious look appeared on Xiao Yan's face. He used the residual light from the corner of his eyes, concealed by the black robe, to sweep over everyone in the Great Hall, trying to find out who that person was. But he found nothing, and the vigilance in his heart gradually increased. The 5 minutes quickly passed. At the very last moment, Mo Lan's tense expression suddenly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw a few figures appear in his line of sight. A few figures rushed in through the main door. On the backs of 3 Mo family disciples was a little girl in blue clothes, with her beautiful eyes wide open, looking fearfully at the strange environment. In the Great Hall, all eyes stared intently at the adorable little girl in blue. They were slightly surprised in their hearts, unable to understand the reason why a Do Huang expert would cause a fight just for a beautiful little girl. Seeing that Qing Lin was a bit haggard but not in serious danger, Xiao Yan sighed in relief, and the hand clenched inside his robe slightly relaxed. "Sir, this little girl is the one the Great Elder brought back from Stone Desert City. We have not harmed her during this time." Mo Lan carefully carried Qing Lin down, speaking with an uneasy smile to Xiao Yan. Qing Lin hadn't recognized Xiao Yan yet, so when she saw Mo Lan leading her towards the black-robed person, her small face immediately showed a look of anxiety. She wanted to resist but couldn't break free from Mo Lan's grip. As Qing Lin was brought over, Xiao Yan breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he stretched out his arm, intending to receive Qing Lin, when suddenly, boom! As Xiao Yan reached out his hand, a crisp sound rang out, and then the hard floor suddenly split open. Countless green wooden stakes shot straight up from below, then quickly wrapped around each other, instantly forming a wooden prison that sealed Xiao Yan inside. The sudden incident in the Great Hall stunned Nailan Yanran and everyone else. They couldn't have imagined that someone would actively attack a Do Huang expert. While everyone was still stunned, a figure, who looked like an ordinary servant, suddenly shot into the center of the hall. The green figure moved with terrifying speed, reaching the shocked Mo Lan in a flash. With both palms extended, Qing Lin was snatched into their embrace. "Still want to run?" After snatching Qing Lin, the green figure lightly tapped the ground with the tip of their foot, wanting to quickly leave the area. However, inside the wooden prison, the fierce pale white flames violently burst out, instantly burning all the wood to ash. With a soft shout, the foot, imbued with fierce force, fiercely kicked towards the green figure. Seeing Xiao Yan's fierce attack, the green figure waved their hand, and a large wooden stake suddenly shot up from the ground, intercepting Xiao Yan's attack. After stopping Xiao Yan, the green figure's body twisted bizarrely in the air, then shot towards the Great Hall's door. "Old Hai, stop him." "Heh, so it really is you." Just as the green figure was about to reach the main door, a cold aura suddenly erupted, instantly condensing into a thick ice shield, perfectly sealing the main door. The tip of their foot lightly tapped the ice shield. The green figure reluctantly shot back. The figure leaped vigorously upward, their eyes glancing at the rafter where Hai Budong was standing, and they laughed. "Tisk, tsk, 2 Do Huang experts, I didn't expect the Jiama Empire to truly be a place where crouching tigers and hidden dragons reside. However, I am very interested in this little girl, and I will not casually let go." In the Great Hall, Xiao Yan flashed like lightning, reaching another rafter. He coldly stared at the woman in blue with a veiled face, raising both palms, and the dense pale white flames rapidly surged up. In the vast Great Hall, 3 immense auras surged. Everyone looked up at the 3 figures, their expressions utterly bewildered. Standing erect on the rafters, the 3 figures' majestic auras surged out, causing the people in the Great Hall to feel somewhat suffocated under the pressure. In the Great Hall, Nailan Yanran and Guye's expressions were shaken as they looked up at the 3 figures on the rafters, clearly sensing that the auras they displayed were all at the Do Huang level. These were super experts that, even with Nailan Yanran's status, were normally difficult to meet. Yet today, there were 3 of them in the Mo family's Great Hall. This shock directly broke Nailan Yanran's composure. "We need to report this to Master quickly." An idea flashed in her mind. Nailan Yanran and Guyi looked at each other, a trace of seriousness appearing in both their eyes. 3 Do Huang experts were enough to shake the Jiama Empire. Standing erect on the rafter, Xiao Yan intently watched the woman in blue. Although her face was covered by a thin blue silk veil, the soft body beneath the blue robe allowed discerning people to guess that her looks were likely not bad. At this moment, inside the mysterious woman in blue's embrace, Qing Lin was unconscious. But her small arms were still struggling. Ha! Ha! Little girl, relax. I won't hurt you, the woman in blue gently stroked Qing Lin's small face. She smiled softly, her left hand gently embracing her. Only then did she raise her head, intently looking at the situation where she was surrounded by Xiao Yan and Hai Budong. Then she laughed. If I had known earlier that this would draw out too Do Huang experts, I would have made my move sooner. I thought the Mo family's so-called transplantation technique was something formidable, so I secretly learned it. It really was a losing business. Hearing the woman in blue's words, the expressions of Mo Lan and the others below drastically changed. They realized that their family's treasured secret, the arrogant earth secret technique, which was supposed to be lost, was actually secretly learned by this mysterious woman without their knowledge. She was clearly the thief, yet she acted like the master, blaming the original owner for not keeping a better eye on their property. This woman in blue was truly a bandit. Many Mo family disciples were so angry they rolled their eyes, but what could they do about being looked down upon? Did they dare to seek a discussion with her? She was a Do Huang expert. The Mo family did not yet have the strength to reason with this type of powerhouse. So, they could only secretly swallow this bitter pill. Who are you, sir? Why are you stealing Qing Lin? Xiao Yan intently watched the woman in blue, the black robe covering his eyes, and asked coldly. So this little one is called Qing Lin. Ha ha. Not bad. The woman in blue laughed, her finger carefully pressing onto Qing Lin's eyelid, intently looking at the pupil that vaguely had 3 small black dots. Only then did she nod contentedly, murmuring softly, it really is the green serpent 3-flower pupils. It seems the white-haired girl's sensing was not mistaken. The woman in blue lifting Qing Lin's eyelid caused the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth to twitch slightly. He now understood that this mysterious woman was also here because of Qing Lin's green serpent 3-flower pupils. Since the woman in blue appeared, Yao Lao had fallen silent, worried that contacting Xiao Yan would expose his existence to the woman. Understanding this reason, Xiao Yan did not ask Yao Lao about the opponent's identity. You previously unleashed an aura, why did it give me a familiar feeling? Could it be that we had contact before? The woman in blue suddenly raised her head and intently looked at Xiao Yan. Her eyebrows furrowed, speaking with a trace of doubt. Really? Xiao Yan replied casually, noncommittally. Xiao Yan's cold voice continued, no matter who you are, you should return Qing Lin to me. Otherwise, my friend and I will use force to take her back. Ha ha. This little girl is extremely important to me, handing her over to you is truly impossible, the woman in blue laughed and shook her head. Her eyes glanced at Xiao Yan and Hai Budong. She continued, although both of you are Do Huang experts, trying to stop me is still a bit beyond your capability. Act now. Hearing the woman in blue's words, Xiao Yan did not hesitate for a moment, shouting softly. The dense white flame fiercely burst out from his body. Instantly, the temperature inside the great hall sharply increased. His foot stomped hard on the pillar's crown. Instantly, a large crack rapidly spread from the point of impact down to the ground. The large pillar seemed to instantly become unstable, as if about to collapse. Propelled by the reactive force, Xiao Yan's body shot forcefully towards the woman in blue like a bullet. When Xiao Yan shouted, Hai Budong also struck like lightning. His hand quickly formed a seal, mobilizing energy. Instantly, a cold aura condensed in front of him, forming more than 10 sharp ice awls. Each awl had a spiral shape, making it look terrifyingly lethal. He lightly flicked his sleeve, and the more than 10 ice awls scattered, covering a wide range, perfectly encompassing all the space the woman in blue could use to evade. His figure flashed through the air. Xiao Yan's fist, imbued with the dense white flame and a chaotic, explosive heat, fiercely smashed towards the woman in blue. With Xiao Yan in front and the ice awls enveloping her from behind, the woman in blue pondered for a moment. Then, she lightly stomped her foot. With a cracking sound, the wooden pillar shattered, and the fragments shot up, forming a wooden barrier. At the same time, the woman in blue's right hand also swept up. 5 streams of green energy shot out like long whips from her fingers, flying through the air, surrounding her body. All the ice alls that touched them were repelled and shot away, smashing the wooden barrier to pieces with one punch. Xiao Yan's knee bent. His body arched, and he instantly raised himself, flashing like lightning, aiming to break through the woman in blue above his head. His body tumbled in midair, and his back heel fiercely spun, borrowing force, and heavily smashing onto the woman in blue's shoulder with a loud sound of breaking air. Thump thump. The strike landed. The black robe fell, but Xiao Yan's face showed no joy, as he felt that his attack had hit not a human body but a rotten piece of wood. Moreover, when he unleashed his force, the rotten piece of wood somewhat reflected the force back, making Xiao Yan feel uneasy. People from the Jiama Empire truly dislike reasoning and always tend towards violence. No wonder experts on the continent all say you are crude. The woman in blue, having been hit by Xiao Yan, spoke with a hint of dissatisfaction. She forcefully raised her right hand, and a majestic stream of turquoise energy shot straight at Xiao Yan's chest. With both palms crossed in front of his chest, the dense white flame surged up, blocking the energy stream. Although the opponent's attack did not injure Xiao Yan, the force contained within the energy pushed him flying outward. This is my Jiama Empire. I don't want to fight with you all. Although it's impossible to kill you in a short time, you are still far from being able to stop me. Seeing Xiao Yan being pushed back, the woman in blue laughed. She slightly raised her head, and a violent, powerful aura, stronger than Haibudong's, burst out from her body. Instantly, wood chips and roof tiles flew chaotically in the great hall, revealing the clear blue sky. Ha! Farewell. The two of you can rest assured, I have no intention of harming this little girl. Nor do I intend to use the Mo family's disgusting transplantation technique. The woman in blue laughed. Green dochi wings quickly formed behind her back, and then she shot towards the clear sky. Profound ice shield form. Seeing the woman in blue trying to escape the great hall, Haibudong shouted softly. Instantly, energy rapidly fluctuated on the ceiling, and a cold aura condensed with lightning speed. Finally, before the shocked eyes of everyone below, an ice shield more than 10 square meters wide formed, perfectly covering the ceiling. Ah! Ice attribute Do Qi is indeed formidable. However, your strength as a 2-star Do Huang is still not enough to stop me. Facing the terrifying giant ice shield, the woman in blue smiled indifferently. Her right hand quickly formed seals. As she executed the hand signs, the space around her rapidly fluctuated. In a flash, hundreds of colossal green spikes appeared like wooden stakes, then fiercely struck the ice shield with brutal force. Crack crack, the wooden stakes relentlessly struck the ice shield, creating spreading cracks. Finally, the ice shield could not withstand it and shattered with a loud crash. Farewell. After the ice shield shattered, the woman in blue turned her head towards the outside, smiled lightly, flapped her wings, and flew away. With a gloomy face, Xiao Yan intently watched the woman in blue flying away. His back trembled slightly. The purple cloud wings appeared. He turned his head towards Haibudong and shouted softly, "Chase." Having said that, Xiao Yan took the lead, spreading his wings, and pursued the woman in blue like a fierce eagle. Hey! Standing on the wooden pillar, Haibudong looked in the direction Xiao Yan flew. He couldn't help but shake his head helplessly. His heart was filled with a slight hesitation. Although the woman in blue was struggling a bit when the two of them attacked her together, Haibudong was extremely clear that her strength was stronger than each of them individually. If it were before, according to Haibudong's personality, it would be impossible for him to help Xiao Yan deal with such a strong and mysterious expert. But today, Xiao Yan had given him a purple spirit pill to temporarily restore his Ice Emperor strength, keeping him by his side as someone to take action. Therefore, wanting to quickly restore his peak strength, Haibudong had no choice but to follow Xiao Yan closely. Thus, after a moment of hesitation, he only smiled bitterly, summoned his ice wings, and then flew off in their direction. After Haibudong shot high into the sky, the majestic aura in the great hall gradually dissipated. Everyone inside had a numb expression, looking around at the ruined great hall. Their faces couldn't help but tremble slightly. Was this the battle of Do Huang experts? The destructive power was truly terrifying. Facing the chaotic mess in the great hall, a burning flame involuntarily arose in everyone's hearts. After today, having witnessed the battle of 3 mysterious Do Huang experts, this event would likely quickly spread throughout the Jiama Empire. And they were the first group to have witnessed the battle of Do Huang experts. No matter what happened later, they could brag about it to everyone. Nalan Yanran looked up and smiled, gazing at the clear blue sky. She lightly flicked her sleeve, turned, and walked toward the great hall's exit. "Let's go, Uncle Go. There's no need to stay here anymore. We must immediately return and report to Master, asking her to investigate the identities of these 3 mysterious experts clearly." Looking at Nalan Yanran's retreating figure, Gui hesitated for a moment. He looked up at the shattered ceiling, and the image of the black-robed person's face beneath the black cloak flashed in his mind. It absolutely cannot be that little brat from the Xiao family. Viciously clenching his teeth, Gui took a deep breath, suppressing the absurd thought in his heart, turned around, and walked out of the great hall. In the clear blue sky, 3 vast auras shot past. The terrifying aura descended. Below, in Yen City, chaos instantly arose. Numerous individuals at the dosher level and above raised their heads with dumbfounded expressions, looking at the figures on the sky that streaked past like meteors. Their feet involuntarily trembled. 3 vast auras of Do Huang level experts. This was extremely rare in the Jiama Empire and had never reached such a number. Basically, very few had the chance to feel this oppressive aura. Immediately, under the pressure of the 3 auras, the turmoil rapidly spread out from the city. Aside from the turmoil, even more people of decent strength instantly lost their concentration. Their faces also showed fanaticism and excitement as they shot onto the rooftops from various places. Excitedly, as if acquiring a treasure, they traversed the rooftops above the city, chasing after the 3 vast auras in the distance. Towards this caliber of super expert, many people harbored reverence. The battle of high-level experts was undoubtedly attractive enough for those at the dosher and dosher levels. Across that vast city, several hundred black figures briefly appeared simultaneously. That kind of momentum was somewhat terrifying and grand. In the sky, Xiao Yan's face was grim as he focused on chasing the green figure ahead. The wings on his back vibrated rapidly. The fierce wind blowing against him was like metal blades cutting his body, causing him some pain. Not far behind Xiao Yan, Haibudong followed closely. Currently, icy white dough qi wrapped around his body. On his withered palm, sharp ice thorns glittered, covering his fingertips, bringing a chillin' G-force. Raising his head, he frowned at the green-robed woman flying at an extremely fast speed. After a brief contemplation, he vigorously formed hand seals with both palms. The chilling force within his body rapidly flowed, then surged out of his body, manipulating the ice attribute energy that pervaded the air hundreds of meters away. Upon reaching the Do Huang level, one could use the Do Qi within their body to resonate with the external natural energy of the world. Then, they could manipulate it, exerting terrifying power. Bika. Use of this, the destructive power of a Do Huang expert was startling. Doja cultivation first focuses on the body itself. When the body cultivation reaches its peak, the Do Qi inside the body can resonate with the natural energy of the same attribute in the world. Finally, they achieve the goal of manipulation. Every Doja almost always holds reverence and yearning for this realm. Before this realm, a person, although capable of resisting 10, 100, or even 1,000 people, would ultimately be exhausted. Only by reaching the realm of manipulating natural energy can one stand against tens of thousands. It is said that when one's strength reaches the Do Zone or Dosheng level, a casual move can cause the heavens to crack and the earth to tear, mountains to collapse and seas to overturn. It seems Is not just fiction. In that realm, with a flicker of thought, heavenly thunder and earthly fire, and an army of thousands, can all turn to ash. Of course, things are not entirely absolute. There are also some experts who abandon resonating with natural energy. They choose to continuously strengthen their physical body. After cultivating the bee. Ode to the supreme realm, one punch can break the great earth, and space can be shattered. Their destructive power is not weaker than manipulating natural energy. In fact, in many ways, it can be superior. However, strengthening the body is an extremely arduous cultivation process, far more difficult than the former. Moreover, strengthening the body generates a kind of pain. If one's mind is not firm, it is truly difficult to persevere. Profound ice thorn wall. A low shout was emitted in midair. Immediately after, about 10 meters in front of the woman in blue, space suddenly appeared slightly distorted. Suddenly, white mist rapidly appeared, finally condensing into an ice wall 7 to 8 zhang long like lightning. Furthermore, sharp ice thorns were widely distributed on the surface of the ice wall. One could imagine that if she were to hit it, the outcome would likely not be pleasant. The sudden appearance of the colossal ice wall in the sky caused the large number of people still chasing below to gasp in astonishment. Immediately, their faces became even more fanatic. This was the power that every doge revered and longed for. Seeing the suddenly appearing ice thorn wall, the woman in blue lightly snorted in annoyance. Evidently, the relentless chase of the two people behind also made her a bit impatient. Break it for me. Holding the unconscious Qing Lin with her left hand, the woman in blue vigorously struck forward with her right hand. Instantly, a fierce green light filled the sky. Green vines covered the sky and earth, appearing bizarrely. As the vines appeared, they began to wrap around each other. In nearly 10 seconds, countless vines had combined to form a colossal green fist. The gigantic fist was enveloped by energy light. Then, accompanied by a sharp whistling sound, it fiercely smashed towards the hard ice wall. Along the way, the sharp ice thorns were instantly shattered. Bang! A loud explosion echoed in the sky. The colossal ice wall was directly blasted by the green gigantic fist, creating a huge hole. Hearing the loud explosion in the sky and the cold shattered ice fragments falling down, the hearts of the people below all trembled slightly. They vaguely calculated in their minds. They were then horrified to realize that the gigantic fist contained extremely terrifying energy. They feared it could directly shatter Yan city gates with one punch. What terrifying power! Below, the crowd, along with Xiao Yan and Haibudong above, sighed in shock, seeing the shattered ice wall. The woman in blue's body flashed out of the empty hole like lightning. At the same time, her hand, which was behind her, gestured. Instantly, the enormous green fist energy shot out from the empty hole, fiercely striking at Xiao Yan who was chasing after her. Feeling the intense oppressive force of the force, Xiao Yan's face slightly changed. He opened his right palm, aiming it at the incoming fist. After a slight silence, a massive stream of white flame shot out. The white flame collided heavily with the energy fist. When the energy giant fist moved about 10 meters, a layer of white ice rapidly spread, then enveloped it. His figure flew forward, charging fear. Selly. Xiao Yan's toe lightly tapped the frozen giant fist. A hidden force transmitted from his toe. Instantly, the energy giant fist shattered with a loud crash. Cold ice fragments shot everywhere. Xiao Yan's body streaked like lightning out of the empty ice shards. He suddenly stopped, quietly watching the woman in blue who had abruptly ceased flying. As Xiao Yan stopped, Haibudong also quickly flew to the spot. Standing shoulder to shoulder with Xiao Yan, he scrutinized the woman opposite them. Cold air was exhaled and inhaled from his palms. Staring at the woman in blue, Haibudong tilted his head to look at Xiao Yan and whispered, "Why isn't she running?" "I don't know." Xiao Yan shook his head. His gaze remained fixed on the woman in blue. After a moment of silence, he spoke, "Your strength is indeed very great. Relying on just one of us, it might be difficult to stop you. But, unfortunately, there are two of us. Hand over Qing Lin. We don't want to conflict with you, Xiao Yan said in a deep voice. That is not possible. I have searched for the green serpent three-flower pupils for over 10 years. Today, I am lucky enough to find them. Don't mention you two Do Huangs, even if there were a few M. Or, I absolutely would not give up, the woman in blue smiled and shook her head. In her voice, there was no room for negotiation. Act now. Gloomily glaring at the woman in blue, Xiao Yan's patience was also gradually wearing out. He immediately didn't delay, shouting softly. The two were about to unleash a fierce attack again. If I wasn't worried about staying here too long and attracting the Jiama Empire's powerhouses, even if we fought right now, I don't see how the two of you could defeat me, the woman in blue said. Why? A somewhat arrogant smile. Unfortunately. We are currently in the Jiama Empire, Xiao Yan replied with a cold laugh. In his palm, the white flame burned even more fiercely. He was already preparing to attack. Indeed. We are currently in the Jiama Empire, so I won't fight you two again. Shaking her head regretfully, the woman in blue took out a whistle-like object. Putting it to her mouth, an extremely sharp, high-pitched sound, carrying a strange dual tone, diffused from the sky. Boom. Not long after the whistling sound was emitted, a massive roar suddenly echoed in the distant forest. Suddenly, a colossal beast nearly 10 zhang long shot into the sky. Then, it flew towards the Sid of the horizon. The gigantic shadow covered a large area on the ground. The colossal beast's physique was extremely elongated. Looking at it, it seemed somewhat similar to a snake-type magical beast. This magical beast's flying speed was startling. It was actually like instant movement. In a flash, it had arrived near the woman in blue. As the colossal beast suddenly appeared, its full appearance was finally completely captured by Xiao Yan's eyes. Immediately, he couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The colossal beast, or rather, colossal snake, would be more accurate. The colossal snake's physique was extremely huge. Its entire body was pitch black with some colorful markings. It looked somewhat bizarre. The colossal snake's body was also covered in various colors. It actually had 8 black wings. Furthermore, on the top of its head, there grew a spiral-shaped black horn, imbued with purple light, flickering at its sharp tip. It clearly contained potent venom. Vaguely wrapping around it was something resembling a crown. Its triangular pupils were no longer savage. Instead, they were led with human-like cunning and craftiness. 8-winged black serpent emperor. Seeing the black snake's appearance, Hai Budong's face changed. He cried out in shock. Hearing Hai Budong's slightly terrified shout, Xiao Yan's heart also trembled slightly. A piece of information surged in his heart. The 8-winged black serpent emperor. A naturally gifted beast. It is the evolution of the 3rd-rank 2-winged black serpent magical beast. Starting from the 3rd rank, for every rank it advances, it grows an additional pair of wings. By the time it has 8 wings, it is the 8-winged black serpent emperor, whose vicious reputation is famous across the Do-Chi continent. Damn it. A 6th-rank magical beast. I didn't expect this woman to actually have this kind of companion. His face turning grim, Xiao Yan's heart sank as he looked at the colossal black snake. He did not believe that a Do Huang level 8-winged black serpent emperor would be the woman in blue's mount. At this rank, the 8-winged black serpent emperor already possessed intelligence no less than a human's. Naturally, it had the arrogance of an expert. It was naturally impossible for it to submit to a human of the same rank. In the distant sky, the woman in blue and the colossal 8-winged black serpent emperor slowly converged. Instantly, 2 terrifying auras enveloped the sky. The clouds in the sky were also shattered into powder at this moment, torn apart by the tyrannical auras. This time, it's troublesome. Sensing the 2 terrifying auras, Xiao Yan and Hai Budong's expressions instantly became extremely grim. Far away on the horizon, 4 streams of Do Huang level aura filled the air. The surrounding space seemed to tremble slightly at this moment. In the clear blue sky, the thick, vast white clouds were torn and shattered by the tyrannical auras. Inside Yen City, everyone below, under the intertwining rush of the four vast auras, involuntarily trembled. That terrifying pressure made some people feel as if they were being crushed by a 1,000-pound boulder. Their breathing became slightly heavy. Lumen, haha, I didn't expect you to be chased and scattered all the way here. If this news gets back, I'm afraid they'll all have a good laugh. The huge triangular pupil stared intently at Xiao Yan and Hai Budong opposite them. The eight-winged black serpent emperor opened and closed its large mouth, letting out a deafening laugh. You bastard White Fang, I have someone on my person, and I didn't expect them to use a group fight. Should I be an idiot and just stand there waiting for their attack instead of running? Suspended B. Aside the eight-winged black serpent emperor, the woman in blue couldn't help but say angrily upon hearing his ridicule. Heh, a huge snake tail was exposed. The eight-winged black serpent emperor's triangular pupil twitched. It glanced at the girl in Lu Man's arms, who was Qing Lin. Its voice, like thunder, had a hint of seriousness. Is it really the green serpent three-flower pupils? Yes, your sensing isn't wrong, it is. Speaking of this point, the woman in blue's sly eyes radiated joy. She nodded and said with a laugh. That's good then. Hearing this, the eight-winged black serpent emperor clearly breathed a slight sigh of relief. It then swept its gaze towards Xiao Yan and Hai Budong opposite them. After a quick scan, it finally let out a cry of surprise, its eyes stopping on Xiao Yan's body, which was engulfed in the white pale flame. It exclaimed, "No wonder I had a strange feeling. Why do I feel this person's aura is vaguely familiar?" You feel that too? The woman in blue stared in surprise, looking up and down at Xiao Yan, and said, I also briefly sensed a familiar aura on his body earlier, which is why I exposed my hidden ion just now. However, I have had contact with many experts, so I can't clearly recall whose aura this is similar to. The white flame on his body, that should be a heavenly flame. But I'm not sure what kind of heavenly flame it is. How enviable, he really is a lucky fellow. The eight-winged black serpent emperor S.A. ID in surprise. Yes, it is indeed a kind of heavenly flame with extremely terrifying power. My myriad wood prison was completely ineffective against him, the woman in blue nodded and said in a deep voice. Heh, it's been many years since I came to the Jiama Empire. I didn't expect to meet experts of this caliber now, the eight-winged black serpent emperor said with a somewhat reluctant laugh. All right. Stop talking nonsense. Such a massive disturbance has been made here. I fear the people of the Cloud Mist sect and that old monster from the imperial family must have noticed something. If delay, waiting for them to arrive, then it will truly be troublesome, the woman in blue said in a deep voice. Yes. I know. No need for you to urge me, the eight-winged black serpent emperor's large tail lightly swayed. Then, it said with a hint of regret, but it truly is a pity. I originally wanted to find Queen Medusa for a match this time. I didn't expect her to fail her evolution. Alas. Such a perfect woman. She truly was born for this emperor. White Fang. Don't be lustful. Have you forgotten how miserably she beat you last time? Her white eyes glanced at him somewhat helplessly. Heh. I like her precisely because of this violence, the eight-winged black serpent emperor shook its head and laughed loudly. All right. You take the person and go first. I will hold them back. We'll meet again at the same place in 10 hours. Okay. Be careful. These two are not easy opponents, the woman in blue nodded, instructing him. The two wings behind her lightly moved. Then, she shot towards the distant horizon. Rest assured, when it comes to flying speed among Do Huang experts, who can compare with me? The eight-winged black serpent emperor waved its tail towards the woman in blue, saying proudly with a.l. Ugh. Still want to run? Leave the person behind. Seeing the woman in blue quickly shoot away, Xiao Yan's expression sank. His purple cloud wings lightly moved, and his figure shot out explosively. Heh, your opponent is me. Seeing Xiao Yan shooting away in midair, the eight-winged black serpent emperor chuckled. Its 8 wings moved in unison, and its huge body instantly appeared, blocking Xiao Yan's flight path. It On its tail, which contained immense power. The calm space even felt slightly distorted. Sensing the terrifying power from the snake tail, Xiao Yan's face slightly changed. He dared not meet it head-on, rapidly twisting his body, perfectly evading the attack. However, although he avoided the attack, his goal of chasing the target was now blocked. Damn it. Old High, strike. Xiao Yan cursed under his breath, while continuously evading the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor's attacks. He tilted his head and shouted loudly to Hai Budong. Help me hold him for a moment. Hai Budong's expression was solemn as he shouted in a low voice. His 2 hands formed seals, his sleeves trembled, and a fierce cold aura burst out from his body. In just a few moments, this piece of the world was completely enveloped by the cold aura hovering in the sky. Because of the increasing cold aura, beautiful snowflakes lightly fell. After a moment, a fierce wind roared. The beautiful snowflakes condensed into ice blades. A strong wind gradually formed a whirlpool, which then expanded. After a long while, it naturally widened to 10 zhang. The fierce wind howled. Sharp ice blades shot into the strong wind. In an instant, a white icy layer enveloped the outside of the whirlpool, which appeared suddenly in the air. Using his own strength to form such a fierce ice blade whirlpool, even with Hai Budong's current strength, cold sweat couldn't help but form on his forehead. Xiao Yan, step aside. Shouting in a deep voice, Hai Budong watched Xiao Yan quickly fly away. He waved his hand, and the gigantic whirlpool, carrying ice blades, accompanied by the sharp sound of wind breaking the air, Rusili howled and swept towards the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor. The momentum is indeed not bad. However, I am a 6-star Do Huang. Do you, with the strength of a 2-star Do Huang, wish to fight me? Ha. Looking at the violently approaching whirlpool car, reeing ice blades, the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor laughed loudly. It used its huge head to block it. A black flame suddenly surged out from its body, then constantly surged and shot out. It condensed into a gigantic black energy form of the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor in the air in front of its head. It vigorously swung its large tail, causing the black flame, which was bizarrely condensed into the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor, to burst forth fiercely. A terrifying, chaotic force ruthlessly slammed into the whirlpool carrying ice blades. In the moment the two forces collided, the space at the point of contact seemed to be gently shaken and cracked into black crevices. Rumble. The 2 types of energy, one white and one black, remained in a stalemate for a moment. Above the sky, an echoing boom sounded. The intense collision of energy caused a massive explosion that could be heard even kilometers away. The sound of the explosion faintly echoed back and forth. In the instant of the explosion, waves of energy ripples diffused, simultaneously shaking both Hai Budong and the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor backward. Judging by the energy you just expended. Even if you are a Do Huang expert, you can only use it a few times, right? Looking at the cold sweat on Hai Budong's face, the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor laughed loudly. 8 extremities ice. The laughter had not yet completely ceased, but its large triangular pupils involuntarily contracted. Its entire body, covered in black scales, suddenly contracted bizarrely. A layer of slime seeped out from beneath its scales, rapidly covering the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor entirely, forming a kind of protective coat. Xiao Yan's figure suddenly appeared at the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor's waist. His fist, engulfed in the blazing pale white flame, suddenly clenched. A chaotic, fierce force, like a combinatio of ice and thunder, ruthlessly smashed down. At this moment, even his loose black robe seemed to turn as hard as steel. Thud. The fist heavily slammed onto the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor's body, but Xiao Yan's expression became extremely unsightly. This was because, in his sensation, the 8-winged Black Serpent Emperor's body suddenly became like the smooth skin of a white-skinned eel. His fist slammed onto it, but ultimately it slipped off the outer layer of slime. However, although the force of this strike was almost completely lost, a small portion of it still solidified onto the body. Struck by the terrifying heat contained within the pale white flame, a small L portion of the snake scales immediately fell off, distorted and warped. Hiss, that hurts. The pain transmitted through its body caused the colossal body of the eight-winged black serpent emperor to retreat sharply. Its huge snake tail whipped back, fiercely slamming Xiao Yan's back, instantly sending Xiao Yan flying out like a rubber ball. Puff, the powerful force on his back caused Xiao Yan to spit out a small mouthful of fresh blood. His rapidly moving wings were shaken. Only then did his figure stagger and stand firm. Alas, after all, this power doesn't truly belong to me. Trying to control it is extremely awkward. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Xiao Yan said with a bitter laugh in his heart. Are you all right? Hai Budong flew closer to Xiao Yan, asking. I'm fine. Xiao Yan shook his head. His eyes looked with some anxiety towards the distant horizon. Because of the entanglement with the eight-winged black serpent emperor for this period of time, the woman in blue had long since escaped without a trace. What should we do now? Although he can't kill us, his speed makes it easy for him to stop us, Hai Budong said with a bitter laugh. Furthermore, this guy's attribute happens to counter mine. His full L body scale armor has terrifying defensive power. If not for your heavenly flame, I fear that punch just now would have been ineffective against him. Xiao Yan clenched his teeth, his breathing somewhat rapid. Neither of us possesses a Do technique with extremely terrifying destructive power. To force him back seems very difficult, Hai Budong sighed. Xiao Yan was silent. The bone-chilling flame belonged to Yao Lao's power, so Xiao Yan's control over it was far from as flexible as Yao Lao's. Furthermore, the sole power that allowed him to fight A.D. Yu Huang expert also completely belonged to Yao Lao. Speaking of it, this matter did not involve him too much, the function he served was merely a relay station. Since even the eight extremities ice had little effect on the eight-winged black serpent emperor, Xiao Yan only had one unrevealed trump card left, which was the earth-rank Do technique, the Flame SP. Lighting Wave Ruler. His hand gently rested on his shoulder, Xiao Yan's fingers touched the cold black heavy ruler on his back. But just as he was about to start using this unrevealed trump card, his eyes suddenly stopped at the bone-chilling flame in his left palm. After a slight pause, and a moment of silence, a nearly insane thought quietly emerged from the depths of his heart, uncontrollably taking root. Perhaps, like this, it will be even more terrifying. The insane thought, once it appeared in his mind, caused Xiao Yan to involuntarily tremble. No matter how he suppressed it, the thought still lingered, refusing to dissipate, like a demonic obsession. Clinging to him. Seeing that he couldn't dispel it, Xiao Yan subconsciously stopped trying to control it, gradually becoming mesmerized by the thought. He muttered in his heart, if it succeeds, I fear. The destructive power will not be weaker than the flame-splitting wave ruler, right? While Xiao Yan was pondering, Hai Budong stood by, seeing him silent, assuming he was giving up. He quietly sighed in his heart. No matter what, the eight-winged black serpent emperor they encountered was definitely a difficult opponent. Although he could take action, he wasn't familiar with Qing Lin and didn't think it was worth accepting such danger for a little girl. Xiao Yan's initiative to Vipfbapk was actually quite agreeable to him. Opposite them, the eight-winged black serpent emperor lightly swung its gigantic tail. Every swing of the giant tail created a significant gust of wind in the sky. One could imagine the terrifying power contained within that huge tail. Heh, what's wrong? Finally giving up. Its triangular pupils glared at the two people opposite who showed no movement. The eight-winged black serpent emperor laughed, the sound like thunder, echo. Non-stop in the sky. Giving up is good, save yourselves the effort. Smiling, the eight-winged black serpent emperor turned its head, looking towards the distant horizon. It muttered in a low voice, that woman, Lu Men, should have reached a safe location by now, right? My task of holding them back should also end. Turning its head back, the eight-winged black serpent emperor looked at Xiao Yan. It laughed loudly, taunting, the two of you, if you still feel unwilling in the future, you can come and find me. I'll be waiting anytime. I won't play with you today. Once that woman from the Cloud Mist sect and that old monster arrive, it'll be hard to leave. Having said that, the eight-winged black serpent emperor swayed its large tail. Its eyes intently watched every move of Xiao Yan and Hai Budong. Its body slowly retreated backward. Clearly, it had to be cautious, as it didn't want to expose its back as a target for the two Do Huang experts. Although it had the ability to stop the two Do Huang experts, it truly couldn't genuinely defeat Xiao Yan and Hai Budong. Beneath the black robe, Xiao Yan's eyes intently watched the eight-winged black serpent emperor slowly retreating. His struggling mind finally made a firm decision. He slowly extended his two hands beneath the black robe. His slender, fair palms, resembling a girl's hands, seemed to carry no power whatsoever. Seeing Xiao Yan's movement, Hai Budong stood on the side, startled, his face filled with doubt. Heh. What's wrong? Still unwilling to give up? Although you possess a heavenly flame. But judging by your appearance, you don't seem able to unleash its full power. Likewise, noticing Xiao Yan's movement, the moving eight-winged black serpent emperor also immediately stopped. Its triangular pupils stared intently at Xiao Yan. It said with a slightly impatient, cold laugh, ignoring the eight-winged black serpent emperor's sarcasm. Xiao Yan's two hands were raised, held level in front of him. After a slight silence, on his left hand, the bone-chilling flame surged, its scorching temperature burning the space into distortion and illusion. His left hand slightly clenched. The pale white flame, ominous, silently surged, releasing a fierce energy. The huge triangular pupils stared at Xiao Yan with mockery. The eight-winged black serpent emperor was not flustered at all. Although the heavenly flame made it extremely wary. But it was fine. The black-robed person in front of him did not seem capable of easily unleashing the true power of the heavenly flame. Thus, the eight-winged black serpent emperor was not particularly afraid. The triangular pupils were watching with scorn, but in just a moment, when a cluster of green flame suddenly surged up on Xiao Yan's right hand, the huge pupils suddenly contracted sharply. A state of shock, extremely human-like, appeared in the snake's pupils. This is also a heavenly flame. Damn it. How is this possible? How can two kinds of heavenly flame coexist within your body? Feeling the terrifying temperature released by a surge of green flame, the eight-winged black serpent emperor immediately froze. Then, like its tail had been stepped on, its colossal body arched up, and a sharp, frantic sound echoed in the sky. Standing beside Xiao Yan, Hai Budong's face also showed shock as he looked at the white and green flames surging up. Being in such close proximity, he naturally felt the terrifying temperature contain within the two flames even more clearly. He immediately backed away quickly for a distance before feeling safe. It's truly unimaginable. This fellow can actually possess two kinds of heavenly flame. Staring intently at Xiao Yan's two hands, Hai Budong sucked in a deep breath of cold air, his heart surging like raging waves. With his knowledge, he had never heard of anyone being able to possess kinds of heavenly flames simultaneously. One must know that heavenly flames are inherently overbearing and possess an extremely destructive nature. There is absolutely no relation between two types of heavenly flame. If two types of heavenly flame coexist within a person's body, Hai Budong could only imagine one outcome: two extremely unstable bombs colliding with each other. The final result naturally be a mutual explosion and destruction. Hai Budong wasn't clear why Xiao Yan could possess two types of heavenly flame simultaneously, but he clearly sensed that the moment the two types of heavenly flame appeared, the energy within Xiao Yan's body, which was originally gentle, suddenly became much more violent. What exactly does this person intend to do by summoning two types of heavenly flame? Thinking vaguely in his heart, Hai Budong tilted his head, looking at the exposed face beneath the black robe. On the young man's handsome face, there seemed to be a hint of crazy amusement. Looking at the crazy smile on Xiao Yan's face, Hai Budong shivered. A sense of unease involuntarily arose in his heart. He slightly flapped his wings, and icy do qi formed an ice barrier circle around his body, enveloping him. Opposite Xiao Yan, the eight-winged black serpent emperor was still cursing uncontrollably, like a thrashing fish. Clearly, the fact that Xiao Yan could simultaneously possess two types of heavenly flame was a blow to him. Ignoring the thrashing eight-winged black serpent emperor, Xiao Yan's eyes intently watched the flames of different colors. The corner of his mouth slightly twitched. After a moment, he gritted his teeth, and his two hands, carrying the two types of heavenly flame, slowly pressed together. Damn it, madman, madman. This person is absolutely insane. Staring in horror at Xiao Yan's movement, Hai Budong and the eight-winged black serpent emperor almost cursed in unison. After cursing, the two seemed to share a psychic connection, quickly retreating backward for a distance, then standing far away, watching Xiao Yan. Bastard, if you die, who will concoct the recovering chi pill for me? While retreating, Hai Budong cursed helplessly in his heart. He thought that even if Xiao Yan could possess two types of heavenly flames simultaneously, he absolutely couldn't bring these two violent heavenly flames into contact and remain safe. The curses of the two did not cause Xiao Yan to hesitate in his crazy idea. If the flame mantra could devour multiple types of heavenly flame, then fusing these heavenly flames should not be impossible, right? The power of one kind of heavenly flame was enough to make a Do Huang expert wary. If two kinds of heavenly flame were fused together, the resulting resonant power would absolutely increase exponentially. This was an insane experiment. Of course, although it was extremely risky. If it truly succeeded, then Xiao Yan, even when facing a Do Huang expert, could bring about a terrifying shock and destructive force. Damn it. If this thing succeeds, can it be considered that I, myself, have simultaneously created a unique Do technique? Muttering in his heart, Xiao Yan's two hands trembled slightly. The green flaw. Me and the pale white flame slowly began to touch. Boom. The instant the flames touched, a thunderous sound erupted from Xiao Yan's palms. Immediately, the skin on his two hands was torn and flesh peeled, profusely bleeding. Looking at his appearance, if Hai's hands were not protected by Do Qi, they feared they would have exploded on the spot. Suppressing the pain transmitted from his palms, in Xiao Yan's dark pupils, the left side was enveloped by the white flame, and the right side by the green flame. The intermingling of green and white looked extremely bizarre and ominous. Gritting his teeth, Xiao Yan ignored the terrifying energy caused by the collision of the two heavenly flames, which led to space beginning to distort. His two hands tightly pressed towards each other. The distance between the two palms was only half a centimeter, but this half centimeter required Xiao Yan to completely mobilize every trace of force from every cell in his body just to slowly bring him closer. The eight-winged black serpent emperor intently watched Xiao Yan, who looked like a madman. Although it knew that staying here under such circumstances was inappropriate, its slight jealousy over Xiao Yan's ability to possess two types of heavenly flame simultaneously made it insist on staying. It wanted to witness this arrogant fellow cause his own destruction. In the Do Qi continent, it had never heard of anyone who could use a heavenly flame like this. Fresh blood continuously flowed down from his palms. The green and white flames slowly began to be compressed. However, during the compression, Xiao Yan also had to bear the backlash of the two heavenly flames. In one moment, Xiao Yan finally let out a cry of pain, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood, which, upon falling into the flame, was instantly incinerated into nothingness. Gritting his teeth, Xiao Yan still stubbornly watched the two streams of heavenly flame merging. He was clearly aware that this action was undoubtedly extremely foolish, but after a moment of contemplation, he still acted according to his own will. In his heart, his own obsession persisted. Since coming into contact with Yao Lao, whenever he encountered an unbeatable opponent, he seemed to rely on Yao Lao's power, ultimately finding a way out of certain death. For Xiao Yan, he disliked his feeling. Although Yao Lao did not say anything, Xiao Yan did not wish for it. He seemed unwilling to rely on that power to escape whenever he encountered a strong enemy. Xiao Yan was a persistent person. Sometimes, he could even turn this persistence into a kind of stubbornness. And now, when Xiao Yan set his mind to such a matter, it was precisely when he fell into his kind of stubbornness. In this state, Xiao Yan desperately wanted to test his own ability, even without Yao Lao, to see if he could create this terrifying power. His entire being, it seemed, apart from the flame mantra and the green lotus core flame, did not possess this kind of qualification and potential. The green and white flames, every time they reached a certain limit of contact, no matter how Xiao Yan compressed them, refused to merge. Simultaneously, as Xiao Yan stubbornly and fiercely pressed the energy within the two streams of flame began to gradually rage. Boom! A thunderous sound erupted. Xiao Yan's web of the hand was directly torn open. Looking at the flame mass, which was like an electric ball constantly flashing with green and white sparks, Xiao Yan's pupils contracted rapidly. He knew this was a warning sign that the raging energy was about to explode. Xiao Yan, damn it, quickly extinguish it. It's about to erupt. Sensing the raging natural energy around Xiao Yan, Hai Budong urgently shouted. Haha, a fool who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Sensing the level of the raging energy, the eight-winged black serpent emperor laughed triumphantly. Ignoring Hai Budong's words, Xiao Yan's eyes stared intently at the raging green-white flame mass in his hands. His spirit was focused to the extreme. In every moment, the world seemed to suddenly beck. Quiet. The non-stop sound of the wind also seemed to vanish. In this instant, a cluster of haziness suddenly flashed in Xiao Yan's pupils. At the same time, his fingertips became agile, like flowing water and moving clouds. The flame mass rapidly moved between his 10 fingers. A trace of Do Qi, circulated by the flame mantra, was infused into it. As the flame mantra Do Qi was infused, the raging flame mass gradually quieted down. The dual-colored flame slightly shifted, and finally, before the shocked eyes of Hai Budong and the eight-winged Black Serpent Emperor, it slowly condensed into a lotus seat of white and green, about the size of Xiao Yan's palm. Just as the lotus seat formed, Xiao Yan's entire body trembled. He lowered his head and looked at the green-white lotus seat in his hand. He muttered in a low voice, "Success! Angry Buddha lotus flame." Having said that, Xiao Yan's face rapidly turned pale. The look of haziness in his eyes suddenly vanished. Simultaneously, as if by conditioned reflex, the green-white lotus flame seat fiercely shot towards the shocked eight-winged black serpent emperor in the distance. The dual-colored flame lotus seat silently streaked through the void. It created no sound along the way. However, this light, gentle manner made the eight-winged black serpent emperor's entire body of scales violently stand on end. The dual-colored flame lotus seat rapidly shot towards the eight-winged black serpent emperor. But just as it came within 20 meters, the silent lotus seat suddenly became violent. The lotus seat first contracted sharply, then suddenly expanded. Right after that, a world-shattering, uncontrollable explosion roared in the void above, rumble. Destructive energy diffused from the void. The empty space instantly showed waves of tremor. A towering mountain not far away, hundreds of miles away, was affected by the diffusing tremor. The mountain loudly exploded, shattering, becoming as flat as a mirror. In two different directions, thousands of miles away from Yan City, two streaks of light suddenly stopped in the sky. They looked towards a distant place beyond their sight. An aged face like bark and a beautiful, noble face were revealed, both covered with shock and disbelief. The green-white flame shone brightly, exploding in the clear blue sky. Like a fire wave, in an instant, it swept across the sky, causing this entire expanse of heaven and earth to suddenly heat up significantly. In Yan City, countless people looked up dumbfounded at the terrifying wave of fire surging in the sky. Even hundreds of thousands of meters away, the scorching fire wave still made everyone drenched in sweat. A stretch of silence covered the vast city. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva, their mouths dry. A feeling of horror spread from the depths of their hearts. If this fire wave had been a little loser to Yan City, wouldn't this place have been destroyed into a flat piece of land by now? This is the destructive power of a Do Huang expert. It's truly terrifying, everyone shivered, groaning powerlessly in their hearts. In the sky, the fire wave violently surged out. Taking the location of the explosion as the center, all living creatures within the surrounding area suffered a brutal, destructive blow. The green-white A fire wave slowly extended outwards for several hundred meters before gradually dissipating. In the sky, the 2 humans and 1 beast all became extremely battered. The 8-winged black serpent emperor, due to its colossal size and being closest to the explosion site, suffered the most intense shock among the 3, which was beyond doubt. Amidst the surging, destructive green-white fire wave, the hard scales on the 8-winged black serpent emperor's body were completely shattered by nearly more than half. Crimson fresh blood continuously poured out from its pitch-black body. Then, like raindrops, it fell non-stop, dripping. Beneath the shattered scales, several horrifying wounds, easily visible to the naked eye, spread out, almost covering its entire back. Taking a glance, one could vaguely see pale white bone exposed. The 8 wings were directly shattered, with 3 wings destroyed completely, and 1 other wing only having about half remaining. Fresh blood profusely flowed. In its large triangular pupils, there was no longer any trace of mockery, instead, it was completely covered by profound shock. Its battered, miserable appearance no longer held any of the previous smugness and arrogance. In the area far from the 8-winged black serpent emperor, a layer of snow-white, full-body ice barrier slowly shattered. The broken ice fell. Finally, an aged figure was revealed inside. The black robe on his body was almost completely burned away. At this moment, Hai Budong's face was utterly pale. There were faint traces of blood at the corner of his mouth. His hand couldn't help but tremble slightly. He casually wiped the blood stain from the corner of his mouth. When the terrifying explosion occurred just now, Hai Budong had used almost all his strength to condense 40 layers of Do Chi ice barrier in a brief period of time. However, T's defense, which looked solid and unbreakable, was almost easily destroyed under the extreme destructive power of the green-white fire wave. When the fire wave penetrated, the 40 layers of Do Chi ICE barrier, which possessed terrifying defense, were reduced to only 1 final layer, and this layer was also nearly at its limit. This, a madman. A madman. To dare be so reckless. Thinking of the miserable outcome if his defense had shattered just now. Hai Budong's lips trembled, his voice hoarse, as he cleared his throat and cursed. However, even though he was cursing aloud, Hai Budong himself had not realized that deep within his heart, a significant fear had been born towards this youth who was merely around 20 years old. After cursing for a while, Hai Budong's gaze swept across the air, finally settling on Xiao Yan's body, which was drifting in the air, its life or death unknown. At this moment, the black robe on Xiao Yan's body was also nearly half destroyed. The heart of the sea armor that Yunji had given him before was also torn to pieces at this moment. A large piece of light blue shattered armor slowly fell, revealing the fiercely burned, reddish body underneath. With a light flap of his wings, Hai Budong shot over to Xiao Yan's side. Looking at his battered, unconscious state, he glanced at the light blue inner armor, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. The defensive power of this item was truly somewhat beyond his imagination. Evidently, without this inner armor's protection from the terrifying explosion just now, Xiao Yan feared he would have been instantly crushed to death on the spot. This madman. To use 2 kinds of heavenly flame for the first time. And to dare fuse them together. That's something. You, the creator, don't even know how dangerous it is. Alas. To die by one's own hand. This is truly the strangest thing I've ever heard of. Looking at Xiao Yan's state of uncertain life and death, Hai Budong smiled bitterly and shook his head. He grasped Xiao Yan's arm. After a rough examination, he shook his head slightly. He sighed. To be able to unleash such terrifying destructive power, one indeed had to pay a heavy price. Xiao Yan's body now was almost completely ravaged and destroyed. This was the first time Hai Budong had seen this cockroach-like stubborn fellow become so weak. For my recovering chi pill. You can't die so easily. Supporting Xiao Yan with one hand, Hai Budong muttered. Damn it. You damn fellow. You're crazy. I hate fighting madmen like you the most. You bastards. Scoundrel. In the distance, The eight-winged black serpent emperor also recovered his calm. Sensing injuries in his body, he trembled his colossal body, cursing like water splashing from a ladle. The eight-winged black serpent emperor clearly knew. If it hadn't been for Xiao Yan using the bizarre green-white fire lotus for the first time, which made its accuracy and control imprecise, he would have no doubt. His current self feared he would have suffered much more serious heavy injuries. By Hen. At best, his strength would be greatly reduced. At worst, perishing on the spot. Even with such heavy injuries, the eight-winged black serpent emperor still seemed to have some energy. Hai Budong's expression slightly darkened. He shielded Xiao Yan behind his back. The remaining attribute Do Qi in his body slowly circulated. He was ready at any moment to cope with the furious charge of the eight-winged black serpent emperor. However, just as Hai Budong was preparing for battle, the eight-winged black serpent emperor, after his thunderous fit of rage and cursing, but its body did not dare to approach the two Xiao Yan again. After staring at each other for a few moments, the remaining wings of the eight-winged black serpent emperor suddenly vibrated vigorously. Under Hai Budong's shocked gaze, it suddenly turned its head and fled. Motherf ****. This madman. This old man is afraid of you. In the future, wherever this madman is, this old man will not go seeking excitement. Madman. Truly a madman. This time I lost big. If that woman doesn't increase my reward, this old man will flip her territory upside down. The eight-winged black serpent emperor's colossal body turned, rapidly shooting towards the horizon. The raging voice continuously echoed back from the horizon. Surprised to see the eight-winged black serpent emperor actually choosing to flee, Hai Budong was stunned for a moment. Then, he shook his head with a wry smile. His state at this moment, if he had to fight a sixth-rank Do Huang tier strange beast, he feared he wouldn't gain any advantage. Furthermore, he also had to protect the unconscious Xiao Yan. Therefore, seeing the eight-winged black serp emperor choose to retreat on its own, Hai Budong breathed a sigh of relief. Alas! After today's incident, I fear your name, brat, will become quite famous on this Do Qi continent. To make the infamous eight-winged black serpent emperor fearfully turn its head and flee with one move. Even that old monster from the imperial family doesn't have such courage, huh? Turning his head, looking at the pale-faced Xiao Yan, who had fallen into unconsciousness, Hai Budong sighed if envy. Alas! Terrifying heavenly flame. Crazy brat. After sighing in shock a second time over the destructive energy from before, Hai Budong's eyebrows suddenly furrowed. Raising his head, his gaze swept towards the east and west directions. In those occasions, two majestic auras were rapidly shooting over. These two fellows. They finally arrived. Judging by Xiao Yan's intent before, it seems he has some grievances with the Cloud Mist sect. I should take him away from this place first. After a moment thought, Hai Budong's gaze swept downwards. Then, carrying Xiao Yan, the icy wings on his back vibrated. His body transformed into a streak of light, rapidly shooting towards the horizon. Coincident with Hai Budong's disappearance, the sky, which had just undergone a heart-stopping, soul-stirring great battle, gradually quieted down because of it. However, the silence lasted for only over 10 moments. Two streaks of light began rapidly flying from the east and west directions, finally stopping in the sky at the location where the great battle had previously occurred. The light dissipated. The figures of one man and one woman appeared. The old man wore an ordinary yellow robe. His appearance was that of a youthful face with hair like a crane's. He gave off a feeling of detachment. His eyes, when they swept across, displayed an authoritative air. The woman was clad in a tight-fitting golden-purple brocade robe. Her dark hair was styled into a phoenix-soaring Xiao P, vaguely revealing a difficult-to-hide nobility. Her serene and beautiful face was like a hidden mountain spring, making others both feel reverence due to her noble status, yet unable to help but feel admiration. Sect Master Yun. It's been a few years. Your wind attribute Do Qi is becoming increasingly pure. Such speed. This old man couldn't keep up. Looking at the noble and graceful woman in the brocade robe, the old man laughed loudly. Old Jia's mountain-breaking Do Qi is also becoming increasingly domineering. From a great distance, Yun easily sensed that domineering aura. The woman in the brocade robe said with a gentle SM. Alas. I'm old. Can't compare to you young people. Laughing and waving his sleeve, the old man, called Old Jia, looked around once. As his gaze swept over the gigantic, shattered mountain, his pupils slightly contracted. He smiled faintly. It seems we missed a grand event. Did 4 different Do Huang auras appear here earlier? The woman in the brocade robe slightly furrowed her brows. She asked. Yes. 2 of the auras should not be experts from the Jiama Empire. So, I'm also not clear whether the ones fighting those 2 auras were people from the Jiama Empire. After all, the territory is vast, and naturally, there are some old fellows who like to hide, refusing to appear even until death. The old man smiled. His face gradually sank. He said, however, the energy blast just now was so somewhat terrifying. I think even I, facing the power of that energy blast, would only have one result: heavy injury. I wonder when an expert of this caliber appeared in the Jiama Empire. Alas. If there's an opportunity, I must experience it for myself. The old man said with a hint of regret. The woman in the brocade robe smiled and nodded. Her beautiful eyes casually swept over the ground. After a moment, she suddenly let out a soft E. Her jade hand made a grasping motion towards the G round. Instantly, a piece of light blue metallic fragment rapidly shot up into the sky, caught firmly in her palm. This is, examining the somewhat familiar light blue metallic fragment. After a moment, the woman in the brocade robe smile drastically changed. She choked and muttered, "The heart of the sea armor." Her expression changing as she stared intently at the light blue metallic fragment. The serene and beautiful face of the Cloud Mist Sect Master. Her jade hand suddenly clenched. Her heart couldn't help but feel a little flustered. Why did a fragment of the heart of the sea armor end up here? Could that little fellow have been here just now? If the heart of the sea armor was crushed, he must have been heavily injured, right? Why is this fellow everywhere? Her gaze quickly swept across the ground with some anxiety, but she couldn't find any trace. The woman in the brocade robe's face showed a hint of anger. Sect Master Yun. What's wrong? Standing on the side, the old man was surprised and stunned to see Yun's unusual demeanor. This was the first time the old man had seen the one holding power and the Cloud Mist sect act so differently. Nothing. Startled by the old man's voice, the woman in the brocade robe quickly composed herself. She instantly regained her aloofness, smiling at the old man opposite her. She put the fragment of the armor into her storage ring and said softly, "Old Jia, I think we should investigate the true identities of these 4 Do Huang experts. After all, a few Do Huang experts sneaking into the Jiama Empire are probably not just here for a simple trip." Hearing this, the old man was immediately surprised to look at the woman in the brocade robe. Given her personality, she usually didn't show much interest in such matters, it seemed. What exactly was that metallic fragment earlier? A wave of doubt arose in his heart. The old man, as the guardian of the Jiama Empire, knew it was his duty to investigate any troublesome experts. He was just about to open his mouth to ask the Cloud Mist sect for assistance. Unexpectedly, she took the initiative to speak. Thus, the old man also smiled and simply said, "That would be good. Below is Yan City. We should go and ask the Mo family for some information." Her beautiful eyes looked down at the city. The woman in the brocade robe smiled, then flew towards Yan City. The old M. and also hurriedly followed behind. 3 days later. Stone Desert City. The headquarters of the Sand Mercenary Group. In a quiet room, a faint fragrance made the spirit feel somewhat refreshed and enchanted. On the bed, a youth lay with his eyes tightly shut. After a while, he let out a faint, minimal breath, making people worried about whether he was about to pass away. The youth lying on the bed vaguely sensed footsteps approaching, then quickly disappearing vaguely. He didn't know how many times the door had opened and closed. The youth on the bed, who looked as if he had died, suddenly had his fingers lightly tremble. After half a day, his weak breath began to lightly strengthen. After a moment, his eyebrows suddenly twitched, his eyes slightly flickered, then opened. Gently illuminated by the soft lamplight. Xiao Yan's hands slightly moved. His eyes scanned the somewhat familiar room, assessing it once. Only then did he sigh, his whole body lying on the bed with strength to move. Feeling a bit unwell, Xiao Yan waited until his mind was clear. A piece of memory quickly emerged from the depths of his mind. It made Xiao Yan aware of the extent of his injuries. Injured, huh? Recalling the moment he fused the heavenly flames, Xiao Yan forced a bitter smile. He inhaled a breath of the fragrance, his mind became a little clearer. He slowly closed his eyes, his mind gradually sinking into his body. As his mind slowly entered his body. Immediately, seeing the ravaged parts inside his body almost made Xiao Yan's eyes and mouth gape in shock. Looking at the body destroyed by the terrifying force inside. Xiao Yan's heart sank greatly. Although he could guess that his injuries were not light, he still hadn't expected this kind of not light this level. If this body belonged to anyone else, he would certainly have become a true cripple. This time I'm in big trouble, huh? Sighing bitterly in his heart, Xiao Yan's mind slowly moved towards the ravaged meridians. Then, moving down to his dantian, he only saw a few traces of green and ergy liquid remaining inside. He sighed inwardly, this was truly far beyond his imagination. In the center, a tiny point of light, this was Xiao Yan's final trump card, the green lotus core flame. Xiao Yan dared not move a single trace of the green flame. The meridians in his body were now ravaged to the extreme. He didn't even doubt that if anyone gave him one palm strike right now, he would be completely finished. His mind heavy, Xiao Yan withdrew his mind from his body. He slowly opened his eyes, smiled bitterly, shook his head, and sighed. After quietly spacing out for a while, Xiao Yan's mind suddenly trembled. He now remembered that something seemed to be missing. Only now did he remember that Yao Lao seemed to have had no movement. Recalling this, Xiao Yan's expression became extremely unsightly. He hastily shouted in his heart, "Master! Master!" After calling for a moment, Yao Lao seemed non-existent, giving no reply. Xiao Yan's mood became even more grim when he didn't feel Yao Lao awakening. What happened? The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Xiao Yan felt his tongue dry. A feeling of horror quietly spread from the depths of his heart. This kind of horror was exactly the same as when he transformed from a genius to a cripple years ago. Since knowing Yao Lao's existence, as long as the old man was around, Xiao Yan's heart felt at ease. This was because he knew that no matter what, as long as Yao Lao was there, no one would ever be able to harm him. But today, Yao Lao was completely silent. This made Xiao Yan's dependency officially feel a profound, unconcealable sense of horror. Clenching his lips tightly, Xiao Yan tried his best to look at his finger. When he saw the black ring safely on his finger, he breathed a sigh of relief. Forcibly suppressing the horror in his heart, Xiao Yan closed his eyes. His soul power condensed into a thread, then moved towards the ring. As his soul power made contact with the ring, a colossal suction force erupted from within. In the moment Xiao Yan couldn't guard against it, he was absorbed into the ring. His soul power first went dark. Immediately after, it appeared inside a light-filled cage. Inside the cage, Yao Lao's ethereal figure appeared in midair, smiling at Xiao Yan's weak soul. That little fellow. You've finally woken up. Yao Lao looked at Xiao Yan floating in the air and said with a smile. Master. Are you all right? Looking at Yao Lao's figure. The horror in Xiao Yan's heart finally subsided. However, although he felt a little relieved, he wasn't an idiot. Before, Yao Lao could talk to him directly in his mind. But now he had to enter the ring to talk to Yao Lao. Thus, he knew Yao Lao's situation was not good. I have bad news and good news for you. Yao Lao smiled, gently patted the soul power that constituted Xiao Yan. He said happily, the good news is that I admire you greatly. You created the angry Buddha lotus flame, its destructive power ma. Kes even me gasp in fear. In the future, if you can perfect it, I think you will be invincible among those of the same rank. There was no joy on Xiao Yan's face. The power of the angry Buddha lotus flame was indeed terrifying. But as for the bad news, you should already know about your body, right? Yao Lao said with a smile, yes. Very serious. Xiao Yan nodded and sighed, basically, it's almost destroyed. Hey, although the injuries are serious, they will gradually recover as long as you cultivate. I have already drafted a cultivation schedule for you. I will transmit it later. As long as you follow it, I'm sure you will recover very quickly. Yao Lao said with a smile. Master, where are you going? Hearing Yao Lao mention this issue, Xiao Yan hurriedly asked. Me. This is probably the worst news for you. Although you successfully created a new technique, I had to take 70% of my soul power, and furthermore, because I finally protected you, my soul power is almost gone. Yao Lao smiled. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's expression greatly changed. His figure, condensed from soul power, slightly fluctuated as he stood up. Don't be anxious. Although my soul power is almost completely depleted, it can still be restored. It's just that I will have to sleep for a period of time, just like before. Yao Lao looked at Xiao Yan gently and smiled, for the time to come, Master will likely no longer be able to protect you. Everything will have to rely on yourself. Looking at Yao Lao's peaceful smile, Xiao Yan's eyes turned red. His hands clenched tightly. He said in a low voice, I'm sorry, Master. Xiao Yan clearly knew that if he hadn't stubbornly combined the heavenly flames, Yao Lao's soul power wouldn't have been almost completely absorbed. And he wouldn't need to sleep to restore his power. Alas. Don't blame yourself. It's only sleeping for a period of time. It's not completely vanished. I am very satisfied that you created the angry Buddha lotus flame. My disciple is indeed not an ordinary person. Patting Xiao Yan's shoulder, Yao Lao laughed loudly. That's enough. My soul power is almost gone. You should go out now. Qing Lin will be fine. You don't need to worry. Lu Men won't treat her like the Mo family did. Yao Lao's body suddenly became very ethereal. He waved at Xiao Yan and said with a smile. Master, take care. His eyes fixed on the ethereal figure, Xiao Yan, with red eyes, turned and left. Happily watching the youth who had completely shed his immaturity. Yao Lao smiled and nodded. His ethereal body gradually dissipated inside the light cage. That little fellow, I hope when I wake up, I will see an expert. I still have a trace of the bone-chilling flame. You can use it if there is a crisis. Moreover, from the moment Master met you until now, I have truly been very satisfied. The voice, carrying a hint of anticipation and a faint laugh, slowly lingered in the space, only dissipating after a long time. Slowly looking at his body, Xiao Yan looked at the empty light enclosure. He inhaled deeply with grief. From now on, he would face the world alone. Thank you for listening to the story on KTN Storyverse. Please like and subscribe to support the channel.